Hi, I'm Shaquana, and this is my story. So, at the age of about 8 years old, I was molested, and that definitely shaped a lot of the relationships that I developed along the years into my adulthood. One key relationship that also had an effect on me was the relationship that I had with my oldest son's dad. That relationship turned out to be abusive. And one day we were at an event and he wasn't pleased with the response that I gave him. So in turn, he punched me in my mouth and while I was holding our son in my hand. And it was a really bad situation. Like I was bleeding from my mouth. It was like everywhere. The cops was called. And of course I had to leave the scene. Now, when this happened, we also were living together. So of course that led me to think like, okay, like, wow, like where am I gonna stay? What am I gonna do next? What is my relationship going to be with this person that I've been with for so long, but now this has happened and we have a child together? What is my son's relationship going to be with him or me? Like, what are the effects of this situation? And at that time I felt hopeless, kind of like ashamed, hurt. I had to end up going into a domestic violence shelter because I also didn't have a tightly knit relationship with my mom growing up, and that also transferred over into my adulthood. And I also didn't have a source of like a place to stay, so I had to go into the shelter. So I proceeded to like call the shelter. Thank God, they told me, come in with your son, and so that we can interview you. So I'm like, okay, like let me get ready. I went down there. It was pouring raining that day. The weather was really bad, and we were coming all the way from Brooklyn to go to the far end of Jamaica, Queens, on the last stop on the E train. So it was a really rough trip. And when I got there, thank God, they said, we have somewhere for you guys to stay. So at that time, I felt like, wow, like this is great. Still was a really rough situation because I've definitely heard about people's experiences going into the shelter system, and it's been very drastic, traumatic. And it was scary for me, but I felt like God had given me grace and how easily I was admitted in, like I had somewhere to stay with my son. And he was also intentional about the steps that I was taking. There was a purpose behind that because during my time in the shelter, I met a wonderful woman by the name of Samantha, and she was also in a domestic violence shelter. So we had similar experiences, but she was more so like of a mother figure to me. And after our departure from the shelter, she was blessed to be able to move to Florida and have an amazing job. And God blessed me with an apartment. And during her time in Florida, she said to me, like, you can come down here to vacate, to get your mind off of things, clear your mind. I was like, great, this is a great opportunity. Let me go. So I went for 7 days, and almost to the closing of my time being there, we were in the kitchen. She was cooking, and she said to me, I don't think it would be right if I allowed you to leave without sharing with you what God put on my heart, what I was led to share with you. And at that time, I don't remember her exact words or story, but I know that she definitely was introducing me to a different part of my life. Like she was opening up the doors for me to experience God, to get to know him. And that night, before that was over, when she shared that with me, it was funny because I also had the same thought prior to her saying this to me. So it was like, wow, this is amazing. That night she gave me her Bible to read, and I was reading the book of Romans, and that carried on into the next day when she went to work. I went out into her backyard and the sun was shining. It was amazing, like beautiful experience. The sun was so bright. It was amazing. I continued to like read the book of Romans, and something, I will believe the spirit came over me, and I so many feelings and emotions, my past experiences of like, me being molested, which led to me being angry, led to issues of abandonment, trust issues, into me being in a domestic violence relationship. Like all of these things started to surface, and that was when I realized you need healing. Right. And I really believe that sun shining on me was an indication that God was definitely speaking to me. I started to cry like nonstop. I was like embarrassed, and no one was there. I was like, I don't want her to see me crying if she comes home. But anyway, I believe that God was speaking to me in that moment. He's like, I'm here for you. I'm here to heal you. I'm here to clean you up. But, I had to accept that. And in the book of Romans, it says, that God works all things out for good for those who love the Lord. And that was a catapult for me to actually build my relationship with God, to come closer to him, draw near to him. And after this, of course, I started to go to church. I started to take my son to church every Sunday. We were reading the word together, watching Superbook. That's for kids if you have kids. And it was just an amazing experience. And throughout that time, my relationship with God hasn't been smooth sailing. Let's just say that. But he has definitely met me where I'm at, I've never been wanting for anything. I graduated college not once, but twice. I was blessed with a great job. I never really wanted for anything. Even throughout the time where I was in and out of employment, we didn't have food at times. How rent was gonna be paid. God provided for me every single time. And that just goes to show me that, with faith of a mustard seed, he will make a way. He is the way maker. It reminds me of the story, my favorite part of the Bible, where Peter says, if this is you, God, I want you to reveal yourself so that he can walk with him on water. And God has done that for me over and over again. He's never left me or forsake me. And I know it sounds cliche. People say that all the time, but I'm here to tell you that this is true. I've lived it. I am currently living it. He's done amazing things in my life. And I would like this to be an inspiration to someone to know that you can live beyond your story. I've definitely done that. I am doing that. And I have that peace that surpasses all understanding. The book of the Bible will definitely become a living word, not just a word that you're reading. You will actually live it. We all are actually living it, believe it or not. So just be inspired and build your relationship with God. He's waiting for you. He's knocking at the door. If you're seeing this, it's definitely for a reason. This is not by mistake. Nothing is by coincidence. God is walking with you. He's knocking at the door. He's waiting for you to let you in. It's a relationship, and a relationship goes two ways. You have to say, I want it too. He created you. And it's just time for you to open up your arms to God so that he can clean your heart. And that's my story. Thank you so much. And again, I am Shaquana. Thanks.